question. We all say that God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is almighty and all merciful. So why do we get put into extreme hardships, which sometimes result in like mental health issues that lead to suicide?
Okay, here what I mentioned also was that he does not only have the attribute of all merciful, he has other attributes also. As for the specific problem you've mentioned, which is mental health issues where a person commits suicide, such a person in the hereafter would not be questioned regarding his action. In fact, such a person would be forgiven for any wrong undertakings they may have done under mental health problems. But the question itself doesn't do away with the fact that there is an originator for the universe. Meaning, the subject of today is that is there a God? The answer is, your question does not negate the fact that there is a cause for the universe. Your question would be an extension to the discussion, which would be, does God have other attributes additional to being all merciful? And the answer is yes. God is the one, like in the Quran, it states that He is the one who makes people ill and He is the one who cures them. So why does God make illnesses in people? The response would be that when He creates an illness in certain types of people, this is not a universal application, but in specific cases, with those people, sometimes that specific person will not realize his own innate neediness of God. And if that illness was never created, they would never turn to Him. So sometimes an illness can be created within someone that they turn to Allah, they turn to Him. Because there are some people who turn away from Him, that Allah creates within their lives certain types of things that may make them turn to Him, which is betterment for them in the long run.
But why would Allah put an illness within a person just so that person would turn to Him if they are believers of God?
The answer is that would not be the only reason. This is why I said this is not a universal rule. This is one specific way of looking at the question. There are other ways of looking at the same question. For instance, a certain person, if he did not have that specific illness, he may do X, Y, and Z which would not benefit him. For instance, there's a man who has strength. With his strength, he can go and do different acts of oppression. So, in some cases, he is made weak due to an illness. When he is made ill, he thinks this illness is bad. God has created this illness in me, this is a bad thing. But in the long run, that illness is good for him. Why? Because if he was not ill and he was strong, he would go and cause oppression amongst certain people. This is one way of answering that question. But there are numerous ways of answering the same question, which that question the answer could be unique to each case. So each person may have a unique case and reality which they only know. And that is where their communication with God comes in, meaning they must communicate within themselves with God Almighty.